I got my beer.
Coyle, you good?
Yep.
Alright, I'm gonna start it off here. Welcome to Noble Thoughts by Idiots, the show about board games, movies, video games, and frankly anything else we're here to talk about. We don't take ourselves seriously, and neither should you. I'm your host, Captain Bagels, joined always by my good friend and podcaster, Ripley Goose. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I am very good. Going back to work. Yes.
That's a bummer.
I know. I don't know. It's like I got a month off to play Doom Eternal. The day I took off, I bought Doom Eternal. I was like, I guess I'll take this for the month, and it worked out exactly to that. I'm at the tail end of that game.
At least you got a vacation.
I know.
But hey, let's not
I
forget
had to work through this whole thing.
our other co-host,
Ooh, who's that?
otherwise known as your brother, aka Shmee.
Alias Smee.
You gotta throw the SCH in there. Shmee.
Shmee. I'm going to kill myself, Shmee. Don't do that. Don't stop me, Shmee.
I want a potty. My.
Shmee, I'm committing suicide here. Such a great line. It's a great movie.
So today we are gathered here today that we are going to watch and talk about, or we already watched, we're going to talk about and review Raw Deal, the 1986 I guess you would say blockbuster action crime thriller, released June 6th, 1986.
What?
Yeah, I know. And you know what? I never watched Raw Deal. I never actually saw it. Did you
I
guys
have
see
a
it
problem
before?
with that then, because
You know who it stars? It is starring one of our ultimate favorite action stars, because he was such a 1980s star. Okay, 80s and 90s. Then he went into became the Galvanator. You all know who we're talking about, because as you can actually tell by Ripley Goose over there, as he's already making fun of it.
I missed their one and
Get
only
to the chopper.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, good movie. Yeah.
I would say that we're all fans of this man. And is
why,
that deep,
like,
man?
how could you not be?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
iconic.
Yes, it's true. No, but like I would say prior to watching this for the show, I never actually saw this movie. Did either one of you see it before then?
Never even heard of it.
I've seen it, but that's because I'm not too much older, but
You're old
Hey,
as
there
dirt.
was-
It's cool.
Okay, so I have
pushing
I saw
nearly
this-
40. Come on.
I watched this on Amazon, and the only reason
That's how I watched it,
I
too.
sounded surprised by the date. Amazon said it was 1998,
Really?
which explains some things, because I was afraid for being a movie that recent that the quality and some of the production value was that poor. But
you
now
did
that you
watch-
said,
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
but no, that 1986 makes way more
The
sense.
hell's on your mind? 1986.
Well, you know.
It's the
1986. What
Hey.
are you thinking about over there?
It is the 80s.
Where's
Where's my
cocaine?
8 balls and Coke?
But you did watch the right movie. Okay,
Yes.
so some interesting. We'll do some talking
Wait.
about.
Before
ahead.
we get started, though, are we ready, boys?
Yes.
Let's get into it, right?
All right, we'll count it down.
Pleasure's all yours.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, I'm drinking Corona.
He just slurred. Hell.
I'm
How's
drinking
that?
Corona Extra. That's
Give me
my
a
beer.
friggin' funnel. No.
I'm enjoying the stylings of Land Shark tonight.
Ooh, nice.
You know,
nice.
high quality stuff.
What are
I'm
you?
having Pottsville's finest Yingling traditional lager.
Nice.
Always a trusty one.
So, we'll do a couple. We'll do the.
Not sponsored, by the way, but if you want, you know.
So a couple interesting things.
Maybe they
about
will
this.
eventually.
General
we talk
synop-
about your beer.
General synopsis of this movie is that the dishonored and forcibly retired from the FBI on the grounds of excessive brutality, the former agent Mark Kaminsky is now reduced to a small-town sheriff. However, when Chief Harry Shannon, an old friend from the Bureau, whose son Blair Shannon was murdered by the mob, turns to Mark for help. The tough sheriff, who is always ready for action, will see this offer as a chance for his reinstatement. In this deadly and unofficial assignment, Mark has to infiltrate Luigi Petrova's powerful mob family to tear it apart, while forcing his way through the crime organization as the mysterious Joseph P. Brenner. Now he has to stay away from the law without blowing his cover, but it is wise. Not
You
wise
blew
to
my
give
cover!
Mark
No.
a raw deal. So, did you guys know that there was some alternate titles to this movie?
No, not at all.
No, go ahead. What were they going to name it?
Well, so you know how like when they release movies in other countries, then the translation is usually like different.
Awful.
Yeah. Well, in Japan,
Oh god.
in Japan, this is just called Gorilla. That's what they do. And I can't tell if that just has to do with just being Arnold, and they're like, "Well,
I'm a gorilla.
yeah,
Yeah.
he just looks like a silverback."
I
And-
pounded my chest. Yeah.
He just did coke one night and he's like, call me gorilla.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So I would say, obviously, we know that the number one star and the draw to watch this movie was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Of course, known for Predator, Terminator, and you could say a couple of many other movies. 6 Days.
He's established himself as a 1980s icon just before he already had like some really notable roles before he started getting this movie. But
Of course, yes.
Terminator wasn't before this, right?
I think it was actually the original with James Cameron.
Yeah.
No, James Cameron's first. Hold on,
Yeah.
quick. IMDb it. Who can get there first?
This is him at his...
Terminator.
Terminator.
Excuse me.
Same page.
Oh,
We're good.
84.
84. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is him in his prime, though, for being, the working out. He's...
Because I think also Conan the Barbarian came out before this. too.
Oh,
so
yeah,
he's
yeah.
just getting his chops, as you would say.
Yep. And yeah, you can't say Total Recall because that came out in 90. Believe it or not, 1990. Was
Last
when Total
Action
Recall
Hero
came
was
out.
after that too.
Yeah, this was just before Predator coming out, making him. I think he was good in Terminator 1, but he had before this movie he had Commando the year before, which is also a stay tuned. I'd say we could watch that at some point.
When did Red Heat come out? That was another one that he did. That was,
That's another one I've never seen, so I wouldn't be totally against.
Is that the one where he throws? No, it's not. Never mind.
No, that's
1988.
The most notable scene I
Belushi.
remember is it's like the first 5 minutes of the movie. He walks into a place, he's just looking around, and also he just picks up this guy's leg and like looks like he just breaks it off, and then cracks it in half, and he's pouring out cocaine out of it.
Oh yeah.
I always
But-
forget.
I don't think I ever watched that movie, but I saw that scene with you. I remember seeing that scene and just laughing. Because we didn't know what was happening.
It was like we're like, what the
The
hell?
80s, fueled by Pablo Escobar.
Yeah.
Hey, what is that
Had
movie
kind of
that
a
he's in? I
Miami
can
Vice
never
kind of
remember the name
opening
it.
to this movie, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Wait, what's
But in
Go
the
ahead.
backwoods.
Well-
The one movie where he's in where he throws a pipe through somebody.
That's Commando.
I
That's a
can't-
very.
Is it Commando? Okay.
Because it's the guy who's wearing chainmail, and the only way he can think to get through him is so he throws a piece of pipe.
knock knock? So many good one-liners.
Yeah. And
Arnold Schwarzenegger is just the king of one-liners.
Of
Come
course. But and we'll get into the movie, of course, and we'll go kind of do a plot scene by scene later. But basically, this was just before he had his comedic chops, and I definitely know he definitely wasn't. This was more him just being a bodybuilder trying at the time. He really didn't get his. I didn't feel like the script was really wrote for him, if you know what I mean, because it feels
on. No, because you'll see some lines that the scriptwriter was totally awful to him, trying to make Arnold say. Like there's some lines that came out of Arnold that would be like, yeah, he should never say that, and we'll get to that when you start talking about it.
Oh yeah. Well then, so another notable character that I noticed of the cast looking it over was Robert Davey. Now you'd have to.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
If you remember him, he's He's one of the bad guys. He's known for like Goonies. He's one of the henchmen. From Goonies. if you remember.
He's like, to me, he is like the villain of the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
I always feel like you always see him. Well, obviously, he always plays villain roles for the most part.
That's what he's made his life's career on. And
Well, actually, it's the same character from this movie. Like after his role in this movie, like basically they took the same actor and the same guy actually from this film, and they put him as one of the Fratelli brothers inside Goonies. Like it's the same guy. Seriously.
Yeah, no,
Copy
seriously.
paste.
And
No,
he's
I'm not
like-
talking about the actor. I'm talking about the actual. If you look at the name, no, I'm just joking.
Yeah, no, but like he definitely he's a good bad guy. Do you know what I mean? You love to hate him. You know what I mean? He does it really good. He was also in Die Hard. He was one of the, I think he's one of the.
He's the
office
FBI
staff.
guy.
Yeah, that's right. He's the FBI guy. And
Yeah, he's kind of plays. You kind of need like a jerk FBI. There's always a jerk FBI guy who's just like, yeah, we're gonna be taking over your area. This is my case now.
I think you would be more memorable on this, John. I never watched License to Kill, the James Bond movie, but he apparently was a
Oh
a guy in there too.
Yeah.
He was the James Bond version of Tony Montana.
And then he was also
Very
he
good.
was,
By the way, I've never seen that movie.
he was a
Have to at least once. It's a really long movie.
he was a bad guy in the Expendables 3. Very small scene, but he was in there. And then also notably from my favorites is he was in Predator 2 as one of the characters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Now I remember. Okay. Yeah.
that's true. Now, a fun fact about Robert Davey and close to my heart is that he also is a voice actor in some things, and most notably in that I noticed and that stuck out right away is that he is in one of my favorite video game franchises, Halo, and he actually voices the shipmaster Artus Vadim in Halo 3, and also Halo 2, I believe. So, which is pretty badass. So,
Interesting.
I'm a fan. So another character, moving on, that I saw that was notable was Ed Lauder. You'd have to see his
Yes.
face. If I don't know if you guys are looking on the OneNote application. I have some cast highlights there. If you need
I'm
references.
looking at it.
Yeah. So you see him. I've seen that guy before.
Who in particular are you looking at? Which actor?
Ed Lauder.
Yeah.
Ed Lauter.
Looking
Just
at him?
below
Wait,
Robert
was
Davey.
that?
Filmography. We have. I'm trying to see. The
He's a
Office,
character
Shameless.
actor. He's not really like you see him. He's been in dumb movies. He's not another teen movie. He's kind of a
Yeah.
character actor. He's a side character. But the other one that was a fun one, if you go below him, it was Sven Ole Thorsen, which I probably butchered that name. But he's Arnold's buddy. This is one of the first movies I think he started showing up in. He's Arnold's workout buddy, and he's also most known for, if you guys remember in the scene in Predator 1, where he kicks in and they're attacking the rebel base in the very beginning, and then Arnold kicks open the door, and he takes and he opens the door with a grenade launcher, and he shoots it right into a guy. That's the guy he shot. So that guy always shows up in the Arnold movies.
Gets killed off in every single one. He's
Yeah,
like
pretty much.
typecasted.
I don't know if he hates his
How are you gonna
friend
kill
or
me this
likes his
time? Well,
friend.
this time I'm going to take this hammer and throw it at you.
You know what surprised me? Darren McGavin. Like the
Darren.
entire movie I was watching, I'm like, I know who that is. It was he played Harry, I believe.
Yeah, that's what he
was
says.
Oh, that's the dad from Christmas Story. It took me forever to figure it out.
Okay, so there's a guy that I actually
He was actually in Gargoyles as a voice actor. Interesting.
Nice. Yeah, there's a couple people that I have to check out because
Billy Madison.
there is.
Oh yeah, he is.
I was doing a
Yes.
little research today, and do you guys remember Home Alone 1 and 2? Do you remember that old style movie in black and white? And
Oh, is he
that guy?
That
Yeah.
guy is in this movie supposedly. He is I think he's one of the chiefs at one of the police stations, and that's why I
Keep
need
the
to
change, you filthy animal.
Yeah, that very guy.
Snake eyes.
So that's why I was very surprised. I was like, okay, so he's in here. So it's nice to see that. So then, and as I rounding out, that's pretty much the notable faces. I'm sure there are others, but those are the ones that stuck out to me. Did you guys have any cast that you noticed?
I pretty much
the only
touched base
other
on
one
most of them.
Yeah, I mean the one Darren McGavin, he's the one that stood out to me. Like I know him from somewhere, and took me forever.
So, some interesting facts for surprise. Arnold only agreed to star in this picture after much haggling in exchange for dissolving his multi-picture agreement he had with this original director, because he had one picture left, and Arnold was very interested in doing the Total Recall movie, but the director, this Dave De Laurentiis, felt that Arnold would not be a suitable role for Quaid, and they wanted Patrick Swayze for that
I
cast.
heard about that.
But then this director had such a bad time with bankruptcies, he lost the rights, and Arnold was able to go back to doing it. So it was a win for Arnold.
Total Recall kicked ass.
Yeah. Well, this movie, I'm not gonna lie. Like, you know how you can watch some movies and be like, oh yeah, I feel like this one was a little hard to watch at points. Like, I could definitely tell like this was like I had fun, but I was like, yeah, it's all right.
Watching this, it made me think that it was like before Terminator, because I was like, if he was in Terminator already, this is like, I felt like the movie was way below him, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no.
Like,
I agree. And that's also,
I think this is one of the first major speaking parts he has in a lot of films. If you actually notice, like Arnold didn't really talk much inside Conan. Arnold didn't really talk much in the original Terminator.
Agreed.
And then finally they start like Commando, Commando, they kind of gave him speaking parts. And then they gave him this. And the thing is, you're like, this is what I'm talking about. With the script writing, like there are some lines that Arnold just really, you could tell when he was trying to say them, just don't exactly come out the right.
Off the
yeah.
She maimed and mutilated and molested her. Like it just came out totally
It just
bad.
doesn't feel right. Yeah. And
that was just a evil thing to have Arnold say, because you just don't know how.
And that was take 250.
yeah, probably. Probably. Also, I gotta say,
damn it.
In an interview, Arnold said this was like one of the first films he was able to get an elaborate and modern wardrobe. He said that before that role, his wardrobe for a film was about $10. And to be honest, I could believe it, because like Terminator 1, they were notorious for doing guerrilla filming. Like, James Cameron had him just running on streets without a permit. Like, he had him walk around naked the one time. They were really trying not to get arrested, him doing that when he did that scene. Another alternate film title, this movie was originally set to be called Let's Make a Deal. That was the original film title. And then on
Bastards at the game show community actually took the copyright.
Yeah.
Frick, they trademarked it before we can name our crappy film.
And actually, during another title that this was possibly going to be called was Triple Identity, because it was a reference in the fact that Schwarzenegger's going from being an FBI agent to local town sheriff, then duck undercover operative. Basically. So several scripts, but that's basically where they ended up changing the title to Raw Deal, because they wanted to make it like an action flick for marketing purposes. All that. And do you know that 6 degrees separation from Kevin Bacon kind of deal? It's always fun to see how like certain actors together. Well, you notice Arnold Schwarzenegger and Robert Davi, two guys we talked about earlier, they
I've
also
never worked with Kevin Bacon. No, I'm just kidding.
Never worked with Kevin Bacon, but they later appeared in another movie set around 2014. Do you want to take one guess before I tell you what it is?
Expendables.
Nailed it. That was it, and it's Expendables.
By the way, super underrated for what they were going for. People hated the movies because they're like, it's a bad film. No, it's a movie. It's an action movie. It's not a film. Sorry.
Which one? Expendables?
Expendables, yeah.
Yeah, they're just fun. That's all they are.
It's supposed to be like an 80s movie.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid.
I like the Expendables.
Yeah, no, I thought it was good too.
I don't overthink them. You just have dumb fun.
See, the Expendables was quote unquote bad, but people love Fast and Furious. It's like the same thing without cars. I don't understand it. They're action movies. There's no point to them other than explosions and shooting.
Yeah, and just the talking and just the banter. That's what makes them fun. Fun fact: Arnold was also considered for to be John McClane in Die Hard originally, and he also, which is interesting because in the Die Hard movie, going back to Davey, he was the FBI agent in John's, in that one as well.
Well, he turned that down. He didn't want to do Die Hard. That's the reason why they ended up going with Bruce Willis. But believe it or not, Bruce Willis wasn't even an action star before that. Bruce Willis actually ended up getting the role for Die Hard, and he actually became an action star after that because they always wanted these people to be like these buff, people for action stars. Yeah, actually, if you think about it, Bruce Willis is the first person that actually became an action star without actually looking like super muscle bound and all that other the other things they would associate with action stars, kind of like Arnold, because he had Stallone.
Nice. And
the
then
trifecta.
I vote, by the way. We have the summer of 80s and 90s action movies.
I'm not opposed to it. Sounds fun. Sounds like a good time. I would say then we will basically go into the movie and just go down. So we're gonna open it up. Basically, the safe house location and the very opening scene. What did you guys think of the montage of all those guys getting together and the seriousness and the tone?
Very Miami Vice. Like you had the helicopter, the boat.
And that's what threw me off. The fact that it said it was like made in Amazon said it was made in 98.
Yeah, and it felt.
And then I'm like, I listened to the sound effects and it's that little cheap pew pew. I'm like, really? This is awful for 98.
Yeah. Well, did anybody else think that opening scene just seemed like not? Because you
Didn't
never
really fit.
You never see those actors, those three henchmen, again in the rest of the movie.
Yeah,
Now a completely different film.
Yeah. Well, no, but like that scene seems so different. Like they have like an organization. They run up, they throw bombs in the door. Well, I mean, like, did anybody else find it always funny that guy had this high-powered sniper rifle with a scope, and the guy was like 20 feet away from the guy. He's like, I'm gonna aim down.
Yeah, I thought that was
sight.
awesome. There is no friggin' way I can miss.
That was exactly what I was thinking. Because it's like, I'm like,
just ultra high frequency frickin' sniper rifle from 20 feet away.
And here's the other thing: since this was
Never see me coming.
Since this was the 80s, you also notice lots of squibs and blood. Like, they were using squibs, not CG, so you could tell that everything felt more raw, I guess you would say. You kind of see that. I did think the big gun scope for short distance was pretty funny. But
Special
also,
effects made by Wes Craven. No.
I feel like they were so raw on, like, transitions were weird, too. Like, the cuts and the wipes between scenes. Like, when the guy, it just felt when the guy goes to kill the second agent outside, right? He shoots, and then he pulls out this big walkie. He's like, all clear. It just felt disjointed.
Yeah, and you could barely hear it, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas on my...
Oh, yeah. No, I agree.
They've come a long way when it comes to filmmaking. I mean, they didn't have access to half the things that we do now. I mean, they didn't have computers and digital, and they actually had to do a lot of this stuff by actually literally taking film reels and actually cutting it with a knife a lot of times to make that stuff seem together. So it takes a lot. It used to take years to make a film. I mean, sometimes it took them like 4 years, 3 years. Not like anything like they're doing nowadays. I mean, they just pretty much with a computer, they can make a film in about 6 months, and that's it.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, really, it's like now they hold back movies for a space to clear in the theaters rather than it actually taking that long for them to edit it.
I mean, actors get, they change during that 4 years too, so the continuity, I mean, they had to pay attention to all these factors. So the fact that you actually have this film that comes out looking decent, even though that you have all these jumbled cuts and all that, still pretty impressive. You gotta look at it for the timepiece that it is. And I'm not knocking.
Oh yeah, I didn't think anything less of it. I was just like, it just hit me like, I guess what we were talking about, just the quality. I'm like, wow, we've come a long way.
But I will say that there are other movies of the time that do it much better. Yeah, like there were movies that were before, like this movie in particular. I'm not disagreeing that, like, yeah, but the wipes and the transitions and everything in this, there were movies that were doing it better already at that time. in that.
No doubt.
part.
There's always
Yeah.
there's always got to be something that does it better.
Did anybody notice that it was like, you know how you can tell a trend between the 80s to modern day, where it's like all the guy that was doing the sniping, he was doing chest shots, shot to the heart, one shot. Normally, I feel like if you were today's movie, you'd see a headshot. Did anybody think that was
Because
odd?
they have the CGI to get away with it.
Yeah, because they couldn't exactly safely squib people in the head, I'd imagine. You know, like that was...
Why not?
Yeah, okay. It's like a little... It's literally a little
This might give you a
explosive,
concussion.
I'm
you
gonna
know,
I'm gonna shoot this paintball at your head. Don't
Yeah.
worry, it's not gonna hurt.
Okay, and then...
I won't hit you in the eyes.
So the two agents are killed, right? And then they go and they cut inside, and the cops are playing Trivial Pursuit. Now, do you realize he doesn't answer the question? He goes, you know, how many awards has Clint Eastwood won for playing Dirty Harry or whatever? And the guy just goes, not enough. And the guy just puts the card away.
Yeah.
Like, that's not an answer. He's not even playing there. He's like, not enough. And that's it. And they just move on.
They're not really playing.
Yeah.
Trivia Pursuit.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was
game-
During
that was the
scene-
one first product advertising in there.
Yeah, pretty much. And then,
The most
Yep.
hilarious thing in that scene, though, is when the one detective in the bedroom is shooting his little revolver out,
And he
the,
can't-
outside, you know,
he's not-
at the wall.
he's not aiming the gun. Yeah, exactly.
It's like Austin Powers type shooting.
Yeah, no, it
He's
seriously
blinking every
was.
time he pulls the trigger.
It seriously was.
Don't worry, they
because-
made up for it. They casted him as a stormtrooper in the next film.
Yeah, seriously. Because, and that's what I got, is that none of the cops who are these trained for years on the force are aiming down the sights. Not a single one of them can shoot for crap. You know what I mean?
And they all have revolvers.
Yeah,
Good
they all
old
have these
80s.
Stinky reloader. You know, we've got the mafia is better trained and has more, you know, firepower than any of the FBI agents. I did like
Well,
that. Go ahead.
You know the reason why they actually always used revolvers back then, right?
No,
Clips
what
were
you
not
got?
very reliable. Revolvers don't jam. That was the whole thing. That's the reason why they want you to have. A lot of them actually chose to carry a revolver over a clip because of the fact that clip can jam on you, and they were having a lot of mistakes with like a lot of these, like the Colts and all that.
Yeah.
Just get jammed
Yeah.
in the chamber. A
Yeah,
revolver
that's his
doesn't do
problem
that.
with it. Nice. Okay. Good, interesting fact. And so we got to the point. Do you realize the guy with the Uzi? He sprays left and right, and he basically hits all the cops. He has time to reload his gun, and not a single one of the FBI agents shoots back.
Not to mention the
outstanding.
50-round magazines in these guns, even the revolvers.
Yeah.
There's one scene that's really bad in this movie, and we'll get to it eventually. But
Oh yeah. And then
I always
so-
thought that was absolutely hilarious about 80s films. Like, just count the amount of times the rounds go off, and you're like, is he going to change a clip soon? Or is he going to
Oh yeah.
reload?
This
All right,
movie's
skipping
pretty bad about that.
the one scene with Arnold shooting a revolver, and he literally shoots like 15 times without reloading.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Like the cylinder would have to be the size of a freaking softball.
You know what?
Exactly.
He could lift it. You know, he'd be the one. That's why he's so jacked.
One hand
Like
and empty
anti-tank
thighs.
15 rounds.
And the scene ends with them pretty much getting to the Italian person who's speaking Italian, not saying anything, and they say, if you want to be a witness, witness this, and they do the headshot through the back of the head. So I was like, okay, kind of brutal for the time, very dark, you know. But then, did anybody find this transition where they just
Where
jump?
he's driving down the movie.
Yeah, and you get this car chase for a man posing as a motorcycle cop with this weird music. I mean, I don't know the music at the time, but it
The
turned.
80s.
It's like Dukes of Hazzard
Yeah!
music.
It seemed like a Dukes of Hazzard movie all the time. That's why I see this first scene felt nothing, you know, to this other scene.
That is
Not
true.
to mention that bike he was riding, I'm like, there's no way that bike sounds like that, because it was like the sound of a Harley, and he's driving like this modified adventure dirt bike.
Yeah.
It's a
And-
moped.
Scooter.
And I know they were doing a movie where you're like, hey, you're like, why is Arnold chasing a cop? You know, when he's playing clothes. You know, obviously you're saying he was the sheriff who was just chasing somebody impersonating. It just seemed really odd. I also like that when he basically gets when the bridge comes to being a single point and he just starts
Doesn't
waving.
react.
He doesn't react. No, there's a car coming and he just waves through and he guides through. Doesn't stop to figure out whose car that was. They were like, pretty much the sheriff just ran me off the road. Deal with it. You know what I mean? Like, and eventually,
let's not forget
Jeep Wrangler or whatever he's driving.
yeah.
My first note for that scene: hot Arnold.
Hot Arnold. Oh, you mean just because he's been working
He was
out?
like super attractive.
Yeah, that's
like
his,
with the chiseled jawline.
Oh yeah, that's him. That's him.
I mean,
in his
obviously, we're
prime.
more used to seeing him old at this point, but
Yeah, but he's in his prime at this moment. You gotta say, so the car chase ends because, of course, he makes a shortcut. Okay, does anybody find that weird that he just puts, like, a gasoline, or dumps gasoline across the street, and it looks pretty dry out there, and he just goes and throws a cigar out there and sets it aflame. So, yes, he sets a flame, but what if he set the rest of the forest and all the brush on fire?
it was a different time.
Yeah, okay.
The EPA did not really enforce these things at this point. Don't put gasoline across the road.
No one gave a about Smokey the Bear.
Yeah, well, so all that happens, and then he
Only
goes...
I cannot prevent forest fires. No.
So
I'm Arnold. I do what I want.
they cut to the police station, and basically he starts reading his like impersonating an officer, and all this.
Yeah, while I was listening, I'm like, damn, you're going to jail for like 70 years for that.
Yeah, all those things. Yeah, and for lying to the sheriff and all that. So
I
basically,
think that was a very intriguing scene, though. 'Cause
Yeah.
No, it
it did
wasn't.
keep you hooked. You're like, why is this happening? As you keep watching.
Well, and I was trying to think that through in my head too, because Andrew was watching with me. And we're like, why is he chasing a cop? A cop is running from him. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm like, yeah.
But did you know he was the sheriff when the scene started?
No, I didn't. That's
Well,
the
then,
intrigue. Man.
Maybe he was trying to murder the cop, man.
So
Trying to hook you in, and then he did.
after
Hook,
that
line,
scene,
and sinker.
they cut to where I feel like they did this scene and they're like, we're not gonna do this anymore because I
Yeah.
don't think it's your really strong suit, Arnold.
Okay,
which was
this-
the wife scene with him.
The alcoholic wife.
Yeah, well, oh my gosh, it's so bad because
Oh my.
So I don't know.
me to do what in this scene?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys caught any notes, but this was like, so it's the 80s, right? So not only is the chauvinistic, it's like, what are we having for dinner? Like, make me dinner, you freaking, you know what I mean? Like,
Make me dinner, you cow.
I was like, oh. And then, did you also notice that he goes and says, we're gonna get fat if we eat the cake? You know, like,
It's like, shut up, bro.
and
You know nothing about fat.
He's thinking about his body fat in percentage, okay? He's
Oh.
got to maintain it.
oh yeah, and this wife just does not, she's pissed at him because he went and brutally, where you said earlier, Coyle, that he basically beat up a guy, for all the abuse, and then it's like she then throws a cake at him, and apparently, if I read somewhere
The shit
correctly-
cake.
Yeah, no, it said it right on the cake, and she throws it at him. And then this is where we get one of
But
Arnold's-
here comes his first one-liner of the movie.
I was about to say that. Yes, go ahead. Or what is it?
No,
What
go
is it?
ahead.
No, go ahead.
You shouldn't drink and bake.
Don't drink and bake. Yeah. So I'm like, okay. So I'm all right. And then, and at that point, I mean, that's the scene where they tried to get Arnold to do some serious acting, and I definitely feel like in the scene they were like, yeah, we're not going to do that anymore. So,
He clearly wasn't on his one-liner. He wasn't allowed to ad-lib at that point. In later movies, he's allowed to ad-lib his one-liners, but
oh
that
yeah.
was clearly written and poorly written.
And at that point, when we move past this
There's
scene,
a lot of things that he shouldn't be saying in that.
oh yeah, there was definitely a lot where
Go ahead.
My wife was watching, and I just kind of cringed. I was like, ooh, yeah, that's not gonna date me well. That's gonna age poorly. But at that point,
Meh.
the wife is out of the movie and never shows up again. So I'm not sure.
Oh my.
Like,
Dude, this next part of the movie is just like completely. To me, it almost seems like that scene was filmed after the movie was was finished, and they were just like, how do we explain the transfer from sheriff to undercover FBI?
Oh yeah, and I gotta say, there's a scene coming up that I laughed so hard because I love the thought process that had to go through it. But okay,
I think it's the same one.
So they show up. Arnold parks in front of the building awkwardly. He walks in that door, and of course he walks into the marriage counseling scene. So that's supposed to be like a joke, I guess you would say. Okay, I don't know if you noticed that.
I didn't.
Yeah, like he walks in, but like, so it begs the question, like, is that an FBI front? And they just put marriage count, like, it's the fake front, or is that just the thing? You know what I mean? So, so anyway, that's where we find Shannon, who recruits. Oh, and I forgot to mention in that original scene, like where the Italian guy gets killed. After that, they cut to the crime scene, right? And you have all the people. Mm-hmm. Not a single one of these people, which are dealing with blood and evidence.
Yeah.
No one has.
I noticed
gloves,
that too. Okay.
Masks. Nothing. The one guy, the dad guy, and I get it, it's his son, but he's lying on the ground right next to, like, just kind of, and I understand he's supposed to be, like, emotionally distraught, but it's like, any evidence you just, like, contaminated, his suit's covered in blood, you know, like, I'm like, I get it, man, but geez, like, so.
Yeah, and if you look at their faces, like the medics' faces or whatever, everyone just, like, definitely doesn't look affected by it.
Yeah, they're just like, it's just
okay.
a job. It's a job. Whatever. People died. Oh, is that your son? Don't care. It's like, so,
sucks to suck.
Yeah. So anyway, this is where, going back to Shannon, he recruits Kaminsky to infiltrate the mob. And this is where we introduce the crooked cop who makes Arnold lose his job in the first place. We don't know it at this point. This is foreshadowing. We just know that they, like, Arnold goes, that's the guy that told me to retire or lose my job, you know, like, or face charges for brutally beating up the rapist, you know, like, and all that good times. So, all the bad guys, and did you also notice, like, I'm not sure how pleading the fifth exactly works, but I feel like...
I don't think that's how that works in court.
Yeah.
Fifth.
Yeah, well, that's what I was trying to say. Like, I kind of wanted to look it up, and I feel like... Yeah, well,
Dave Chappelle.
Like, did you murder... Go ahead. Yeah.
The fifth.
Oh, boy.
Well, so you guys thought that was weird, too, right? They were just like, yeah, am I guilty? The fifth. It's like, I'm not...
Actually, technically, they can use it as a defense.
Okay.
The judge... What is that?
That was my alarm. Don't worry about it.
Okay, gotcha. The judge... Okay. Surprising, the judge probably would actually throw you in contempt of court for actually being disrespectful, but you can actually plead the fifth in that way. I plead the fifth. Because they've used it. They've used it. Actually, recently it was actually used in... when they actually had the... some of these people that were actually pulled in front of the Senate, they actually said they pleaded the fifth. So they can actually say that. Technically, it's not wrong.
Okay.
But continue.
So this
Not
warrants
to be
a
on
question
anybody's
for
jury
me.
host.
Okay, so this makes a question for me, though, in this whole, like, the scene where they're all pleading.
We do not advocate using this as legal advice.
Yeah. So, my question,
This
though,
show
is,
told me I should use that.
if we realize at this point, here's my question. So, you know the, I can't remember the crooked cop's name. Okay, so the crooked cop, he turns out he is the attorney. He's prosecuting these guys, and they're all saying plead the fifth, right? Why, if that guy turns out that he's a crooked cop, why would they use him? Like, why would they? They pointed light on them. Do you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, I know they're trying to do, like, this plot twist thing, but why would you? It's like, okay, I want you to make it evident that we are spending more money than we actually say we are on the books. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. But whatever. So.
Plot holes.
Quick, we need to contact our lawyer sister to get all this information now.
Speaking of plot holes, here's my favorite frickin' scene of the movie. Because I loved it. Because, okay, so Kaminsky goes, you're going to need to fake your own death. And
Yes!
Arnold, this is my I was laughing so hard because his solution was literally to just go, and mind you, he's in a small town, okay? A small town. And he doesn't just choose to fake his own death, where he doesn't even leave a body. He goes to this place, this oil
refinery.
Probably employed like a huge percentage of the town. Do you know what I mean? Like how many people probably live there? And for all
he's
you
probably
know,
65% of the town's GDP.
Exactly.
They're operating 24 hours a day.
He goes, it's like, don't worry, I've got this. He goes, I'm investigating at the oil refinery. And then he goes,
There's been a break-in.
Yeah, he cuts the bolt, drives the car
what to do.
and lights the whole damn thing on fire. Now, on top of that, that place probably had a security guard or something. You know what I mean?
I probably just killed 50 other people. It's fine.
That's what I'm saying.
I do want to comment on this because I did actually put a note on here. Okay, you're trying to actually make it seem like you blew up in a random
Yeah.
explosion like this.
Mm-hmm.
There was no body put inside the car.
Yeah,
Nothing.
exactly.
Nothing.
Exactly.
No bones or anything. Like something's. I faked my own death. I just blew up my car.
And that scene, there is like 2 minutes, and they're like, problem solved. I'm a dead man now. And I'm like, no, you just ruined the lives of so many people and ruined, like you said, the GDP of that entire community, and the jobs are all gone. But like, and I like that Kaminsky, I was waiting for Kaminsky to be like, could you have been more subtle? You know, or sorry, Shannon, could you be more subtle and maybe not doing? But he goes, good job. I know it's tough, but he approved. Like he didn't. He wasn't like it's like smart. I trained you well.
That was clearly a scene to make the film work, and not like thought out at all.
Exactly. And the other part I was thinking, like, I guess
Meanwhile,
were
the
there
director.
were there video cameras at that time? Like I feel like there
I'm
would
sure
be-
there was some kind of security cameras.
Yeah. So
CCTV.
surveillance was nothing like it used to, like it is now.
and you made the point that there's no body. Like he didn't, unless he didn't throw any body in there. But people are like, yeah, sure, that's him.
He disintegrated.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Okay.
You know, there's no remnant of the flare he shot.
Okay, so then that scene happens, and he pulled a Superman for a disguise change. Did anybody notice that? He's like, they're doing the commentary like, you're now a new person. So he goes and showers, right? And he comes out, and he's like, okay. And he takes out his comb, and he basically parts his hair. Like,
How does this hairstyle look on me?
And he
You
slicks-
also forgot. You forgot one thing. He dyed his hair black. Like
Oh.
it's definitely. Yeah.
Oh.
That
I couldn't tell if that
changes
was
things,
dye
too.
or if that was just like gel.
Yeah, that's what
No.
I thought. I thought he
It
just
looked like it was
gelled his
dye.
hair. Yeah. I don't know. It looked like he just slicked his hair and parted his like, I'm
Score!
a new man.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
So this is where we get...
Maybe I'm just dead.
So the next scene we get to is that the rival... Go ahead.
I'm just. Can we just go back to the fact that like you see nothing about the wife's reaction? It's just like, oh, she might have died when she like drank too much that night, or when he put her to bed, or he killed her or something.
Yeah, no, you're right. I had that same thought. I'm like,
And back to the marriage counseling scene.
because Andrew and I were both thinking to ourselves, we're like, did he tell his wife that he faked his death, or she's like, screw that bitch, I hate her. Like, let her think I'm dead. But then at
She
the end,
threw a cake at him. He didn't. She didn't I would leave
it's
her in a
all
heartbeat
that.
too.
Well, I do like the brain.
Dead to me.
Yeah, exactly. Like the thought process was like there was no resolve or anything. He's like, she threw a kick at me. Screw that! I'm going to kill myself. and then now the wife thinks, you know, the wife's probably like,
Screwing over the town too.
yeah, and
She lives there.
and the wife probably thinks, I killed my husband. I threw the cake at him. The cake. Anyway,
Yeah,
so,
like no
this
funeral
is a
scene for him or
cheapskate.
anything.
yeah, no nothing. They're like, yeah, nobody liked him. So.
That dead.
So moving on to the next scene, we find the rival mob bosses meet up, and they're where we find that the one guy is told he has like 6 or 3 days, to clean up his act and get out of town, or that's it. But did anybody else think it was very odd in this scene where the head mob boss is walking out to his car and a school bus just drives by? And all these guns come out, and not only, you're talking like 10 guns, fully automatic, all opening fire on this guy, and they hit Tony. That's
So-
it. They killed Tony.
The worst
I had to
shots in the world.
I rewound this and watched it
Where
like
the
4
hell
or
did
5
we get
times because
these
like,
guys?
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. Well,
What just happened?
it almost
Meanwhile, from Stormtrooper camp.
exactly. And the other part that I found funny was that the mob boss wasn't even pissed. He wasn't really pissed that Tony got killed. He's pissed that Tony, the guy who got killed, was such a good employee, and he was just like, get a good replacement. Tony was a good one, you know, like that's what he's pissed about. Not exactly that he got killed, you know what I mean? Like, and then on top of that, the car that just got shot up to shreds, they just get in and drive away, and the car's like,
and it barely
apart.
drives.
Yeah, like they're like, okay, like.
The extras.
Driving this hoopty away.
The extras from the last Star Wars movie were used during the making of the scene.
Yeah, like I thought that was the standard way. That was like the point in the movie where I was like, oh, okay, that's where we're at. So, so we're going from that fantastic scene. We then move on to our next scene where this is where Arnold Schwarzenegger comes up to Kaminsky now, and he goes to decide to take down an underground casino, poker kind of deal. Now, did anybody think this? What did you guys think of this scene in particular?
I thought it was
Doing
hilarious.
the whole Bond thing.
Well, yeah, he
Maybe
goes,
your
like,
table is tilted.
and he throws these magnets on it, and so, or maybe it's magnets.
Octopushy.
But like, I also like that he just all of a
I
sudden.
also like to live dangerously.
But he just flips
Oh,
the
and
table.
his,
Go ahead.
this is where we're blessed with his second one-liner. Clean up this mess.
Yeah. Well, he does that, and he just starts decking people in the face. And he's like a brick house, you know. And everybody decides to not gun. Nobody's like, I don't need a gun. I could take him on. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's Arnold, the Mr. Olympia kind of thing. And everybody thinks, and if you see his arms, and they all just get, like, thrown through walls and everything, no one pulls out a gun. Like, I thought that was kind of a recurring theme I noticed, where they just try and fight him. And I'm like, yeah.
Well, they're trying to play off the Terminator vibe. Like, he's got a reputation to uphold.
Oh, yeah. Well, then, after that, I like that he walks outside, and the guy's like, finally pulls out his gun. He's like, I'm gonna go murder that guy. You know what I mean? And I like where he gets in the tow truck, and there's a crowd of people sitting in front, and he's very nice.
The
And he's like-
lights.
he goes, excuse me, can you move over, please? Oh, yeah, thank you. And then he just charges it through the frickin' building. And I thought he was gonna
Why
get
not?
stuck. But I thought he was gonna, it's not a tank on treads, you know what I mean? I thought he was gonna get stuck in the building. But apparently he can just drive right through it. So, any other thoughts on that particular scene?
80s cars. They could do everything.
Pretty much.
No, just
Trying to think when that quote actually came in. When he start introducing himself as Joseph P. Brenner.
Okay. Did anybody else?
Because you remember, like,
after they all went down the alley, and then it was the hilarious part.
Well, and hold on. There's a scene just before that because I do want to point that out, and I have a question to ask you guys. So after that, he makes a splash at the rival mob boss location by meeting it. He meets the antagonist henchman, Max Keller, which is played by, the Robert Davey character we were speaking about. But and that's where we get like he's being James Bond and stuff, being all suave and walking around.
That's where it is. Okay, now I can comment. But I think that's actually the same time he does do the quote when he asked about the Joseph P. Brenner.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
When he asked him what the P stands for.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that quote?
Pussy.
Well, I actually have the exact thing. It says Joseph P. Brenner. What's the P stand for? And here's
Pussy.
the thing. Do you think that was Arnold Schwarzenegger ad-libbing? Or do you think they wrote that for him?
I don't
Like,
know. See,
Arnold,
Like-
what are you doing? I'm not living.
Yeah, that's exactly.
it was funny.
He's like, it's funny. Keep it in.
Fuck,
Keep it.
we're leaving it in the film.
Because the way it was.
That was a 300th take.
That's exactly what I thought. I thought he couldn't pronounce it at some point, and he's like, put
Joseph
it.
P.
that-
Brenner.
That or the writers knew he couldn't say words with like P's in them.
Yeah, well, and honestly, because his delivery of it, the way he said it, I swear he was just trying to get a rise out of the guy. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, we skipped over that one quote that I was talking about earlier.
Which one?
Raped and murdered and molested.
Yeah, but
It's okay.
he then
He talks about.
so following that casino scene, that's where they have the henchmen just before after this. That's where the henchmen three of them try and fight Arnold in the alleyway. Once again, if you look at the brick house that is Arnold, and the three guys try and chase him down, and he just basically, F's them up. So it doesn't make any sense, but yeah. So after that scene, and there's a lot of little things that fall in between, but the part that I'm coming down to is when they just cut to middle suburban America, and you just see this woman jogging down the road, and you just see this guy in a car. And there's a quote here that I thought was like, I was like, what? And because this woman's running, comes over to this guy and then goes, "Hi, when's the last time you had a good piss?" And then pulls out a gun in the guy's piss. And I was like, okay, that was a...
Wow.
And I like that they do the drug bust, that's $100 million worth of heroin and cash, kind of deals in the building. So apparently Arnold's doing work.
Oh yeah, he was the best FBI agent they ever did see.
But after that drug bust, you get down. There were some very, very interesting scenes, because this is where you get the head boss talking, and that you find that Luigi Patrova, which is the big bad guy, they're talking about like who, they got the drug bust, they lost all their money, and he goes, "I don't want his name, I want his ass." And I was like, interesting choice of words, That was the standalone scene that I saw. But
He's so dreamy.
oh, so good. And also, like, this is the other thing. So, like, the whole time, like, so I know he faked his death. So are we supposed to say that his wife is out? Because he's full on like courting this girl that plays in the movie, which is like the the Katrin Harold character, or Monique. Like, I don't know what his game is like. Well, my wife, she thinks I'm dead. I'm okay with it. And he starts going on dates with her. And then this is where we get the fake drunk scene, where Arnold apparently is a lightweight and finds out that Monique is working for the bad guys. But, like, he apparently had 3 bottles of wine. What are... I don't know if it was wine. Champagne, sorry. You're right. So he is, like, quite a big... like a mule of a man, so he's like a big guy. So I guess he has a high tolerance, kind of like Andre the Giant, I guess you'd say, with those kegs.
Are you saying in the scene, or are you saying actually inside real life they actually forced him to have like...
That's what I don't know.
3.
He was method acting.
Do the scene over. Come on, I have too much.
Yeah.
I can't. Do it again.
And it was
Cut.
and it was just wasn't very
Do over.
convincing. Oh yeah. So then we get into this is the next scene after that is that they end up going to the gay bar, which is, fun fact, the first of 2 times where Arnold Schwarzenegger will enter a gay bar as part of his work. Do you know the other movie in which he goes to a gay bar?
Terminator?
Oh, you know this movie. Identities Get Erased. Eraser. From 1996. Was when he sets up the guy's alternative identity in a gay bar. He's a bartender there. That's fun fact.
Okay.
Why do I need to know this shit?
Because it's there.
You're gonna be sitting around a table and then all of a sudden this
Wait,
random pop
wait.
trivia is gonna come out. You know how many times Arnold Schwarzenegger's been inside a gay bar? Thanks! Thank you!
I'm just saying.
Thanks.
Well, now you know.
Permanently going to be in my memory now. Why?
When you're both on Jeopardy, you'll thank me.
I'm sitting next to my girlfriend and she'll be like, you know that Arnold Schwarzenegger went in a gay bar twice.
There you go.
Thanks.
So I just wanted to brighten your day. So, but that's also the scene where we have Arnold is tagging along with the villain of the time, Robert Davies' character, and they are going, or Max Keller, they're going to intimidate a man. Actually, Robert Davies was about to shoot that man in the face, I'm pretty sure, but Arnold decides to manhandle the man and try and save his life, so he drags him across the bar with blood in his face. What did you think of that scene?
Say that again so I can process it.
Again, but slower.
You remember when Robert Davey...
Loading, please wait.
Robert Davey is the bad guy, okay?
Yes,
And
yes.
he took Arnold along as his muscle, okay? Robert Davey was about to stab this guy or shoot this guy. And Arnold, thinking quickly on his feet, because he didn't want the man to be killed, so he goes and drags him across the boards, you know, of the makeup room to try and save his life. But he says, "This is what you'll be when you're dead," with all the red paint on his face.
Gotcha.
Yes. I guess you don't remember that scene. Don't worry.
I
about
don't. I just watched it today. I'm like, what the hell happened?
It was at the gay bar.
Why don't-
I'm gonna tell
why
you that
don't-
much.
Maybe
But
I blocked it out of my memory.
You were like, "Gay bar, I'm out." Okay. All right.
Are you trying to
I
tell us
want to do a
something?
catatonic stupor staring into the sky going, what the hell?
All right. Moving on to the next scene.
Catatonic, I would not be awake. Okay, gotcha.
This is where we go to the shopping mall scene. There was a couple things that stood out to me in that scene in particular. So they're doing the shopping, you know, the dressing and all that. But do you realize the henchmen that showed up from the alley, okay? They are walking around eating like McDonald's burgers or sandwiches and drinks, right? And they notice that Arnold is shopping for dresses again, right? You remember this
Okay,
scene?
that I do remember. I remember that one.
Do you think it was freaking weird that they were like, they had full meals. Like, it wasn't like they were done. And they saw Arnold and they were like, screw this. And they just throw their food in the fountain. And their food and their drinks. Don't, like, I hate
This
that.
is so rude.
Well, no.
That they're establishing.
No, but like,
That's-
I'm saying, if I bought a burger, that's not punishing the guy. That's punishing me. Like, I'm going to eat this burger. I'm going to eat these fries. I'm like, I'm so pissed off. I don't even want this food. And they just throw it in the fountain.
Because secretly we're all fat kids inside.
I
You
just
can't
don't
waste food like
understand.
that.
I didn't understand the logic of what they did from
It's a
doing this.
perfectly good burger he just threw in there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. Like, so I was like, why? So anyway, they do a fight scene, and apparently punches are thrown, and in all that fighting ensues, they end up, you know, obviously Arnold kicks ass and takes them all down, and then they walk out of the store with 2 dresses they didn't pay for because they basically steal them. So
Come on! Take that dress!
we got to go. So now
Put it on credit.
getting to another scene that was one of my favorites was the bomb squad scene at the cop station.
Oh yeah.
Now, prior to this scene happening, you have the big bad guys in the basement of their bar talking about, like, you know, what do we do? How do we get this? And Arnold just slyly sits down, and while they're listening it, and the only thing, his big contribution is like, a bomb. Give them a bomb. How do we get this stuff back? And you're like, a bomb. And they're like, subtle. And like, I do like that was his solution. And then they're just complacent with it. They're just like, oh. So then we get the next scene, which comes to the first station that gets a bomb in there by the delivery guys. Did you think that was odd that the cop just was like, the delivery guy shows up and goes to put it's a
There's
new
a
delivery
bomb.
guy. Yeah, but you don't find it weird that in a cop office, new delivery guy, the guy that shows up all the time, and he's just like totally fine with it. And he's like, "What happened to the other guy?" And there's like, and they just go, that's what the boss would like to know too? Like, you don't think that would be out of the ordinary kind of thing?
Kinda, but why would you
You're
question
thinking
it?
way
other
too
than-
into this.
That's weird. You are.
It's in the script.
Yeah. Or it's just like a loophole. There's definitely parts of this where you're like, I don't...
Interview with the director. I wrote it that way to confuse people. Now back to you. No.
Pretty much. But, so the part that I liked was that, so they do this first scene. This is where you get, the bomb goes off, and this is where our Kaminsky character comes back into play, where he goes into the, and he's FBI. He's not on site, you know, kind of thing. And they're like, "What are you doing here?" That's where we get the first notions that other character, cop, was actually bad. You know, kind of like was actually not a true character. That's kind of the only time we get nods that he's there. But then they move to the bomb scene, and I love. Do you know that the head captain of this bomb site? They go, "Call in a bomb. You know, we got a bomb threat," and the guy goes and makes the thing, and the cop and the captain just takes it so nonchalantly, like, "We got a bomb
I felt
threat,
the whole
sir."
thing was just very, bleh.
Yeah, no, exactly. But I actually laughed at that captain because the tone of that captain was so. They're like, "Please
Call it in.
Yeah. That's exactly." But he said called in, not like concerned. He was like, "Oh, okay." You know, he was like, "Oh yeah."
Like the shit happens all the time. And they're just
Exactly.
Like, God damn it.
Yeah, exactly. Like that happened, and then so there.
I'm waiting until we get actually to the breakdown of like how they actually did the what they're about to do.
Yeah.
And I think it's absolutely hilarious.
Well, because like okay,
Because
so
I have some comments.
and that's what. Go ahead, because that's what I'm trying to get at. So that happens. They intercept the bomb squad thing, but here's the question: they're in the building with what I would imagine would be also the bomb squad. It's not like the bomb squad would be at a separate facility. Could be, but like they just take it as they call it in. I'm like, and they don't seem to know, you know, like you kind of have a reference of some of who works in what squad, and you make calls, and they intercept the call with their radio jammer, I guess you would say, and like there's that.
Well,
your
I mean,
thought?
it does sound smart on paper, honestly. I actually thought that was kind of, you know, okay, so you reroute the number of them when it dials out, it dials them. Mm-hmm. That's kind of smart. They must have known that the bomb squad was offsite, and that's the reason why they were able to do what they did. When they actually come in, like, I'm actually more confused that the apparatus thing they were dragging behind them, what the hell that was shaped like, and why the hell does it look like that, and what the hell is the thing they're dragging?
The only thing
Does it look like a giant phallic that you just freaking dragging behind them?
The only thing I can imagine
How's that?
The only thing I think that was like a container for explosives that you put in that allows you to blow it up in there safely, supposedly.
Okay.
But that's only what I think it was. But
Fair enough.
But I will say, so that captain that was so nonchalant about it,
I got 2 days to retirement. I don't need this crap.
Well, I also like that so they drive in, they show up, they say, "Out of the way, all right." They don't check badges, no nothing. They don't authorize, nothing. They just kick in the door.
They're worried about a bomb.
Yeah, but like, you would think they would know each other. Like, "What do we got here, Captain? What's the thing?" They don't talk to anybody. They all run inside. And it's like, "Everybody keep out," which is perfect, and it's smart, okay. But I like while they're doing the thing, and they would say it felt like a movie heist at that point, where they do the blowtorch thing on the lock and they open it up.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Did you notice that? You actually have all this money and everything else that you actually have just stashed inside there. You have $250,000. You have tons of, apparently there was drugs there or whatever that other stuff was. Mm-hmm. And the only thing that is holding that thing together, and this is what I absolutely found hilarious, it's a master lock.
Yeah.
It's like the thing you would put on a locker.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And they come in with this elaborate device of a blowtorch. They could have came in with bolt cutters.
Yeah.
Seriously, and would have done the same thing.
They overkilled it. Yeah, you're definitely right on that. And like that was the thing. So, but like the part that I laughed about was when they drilled into the safe, okay, and they put the charge in there, and you hear the explosion, right? That captain, the captain. Do you remember what the captain said? But he said it in such a way like Oh, like he said it not. Yeah, but he said it like, oh damn it, not again. Like that's what it sounded like.
It's the captain from.
Yeah. So, and that's what I took away from that scene. So, do you have any points on that? Because I got the next scene worked
The
out.
deputy is gonna have.
I actually
nuts.
thought that was like a fairly well played out heist.
Yeah,
And out of overkill for the lock and everything.
definitely. No, it was. It
was
I
like
thought it was.
I mean, it was a pretty good plan.
I thought it was somewhat smart. I mean, yeah, of course, I could sit. You can
Pick it
have someone
away,
else
you know,
who's
that-
like pick it apart, but at the same time, I'm gonna give it to this film. I think they did a good job of conveying a smart way of getting money out.
True.
Even though there were like little tiny intricacies that I was like annoyed the hell out of, like the master lock.
Yeah, it did seem like just a
Product
locker.
placement.
Blowtorch.
So,
Well, that's product placement. You need a blowtorch to get a master lock off.
True.
Rather than
no,
bolt
it
cutters.
actually does say master lock on it. You were absolutely correct. It is product placement. I've had a lot of product placement throughout this whole entire thing.
would you really want your master lock as product placement though? If they just cut it off, like
True.
just saying, it's like.
But it
Look
took
how
a
easy
fake
it is.
bomb squad with a torch.
Exactly. Our product's a piece of. But
You think torches were easy to come by back then?
You know who plays Trivia Pursuit? Bad guys. That's right. You want to buy our product.
So, the next scene I thought was pretty hilarious too was the car chase with they have two cars. So Arnold Schwarzenegger and you got Robert Davies' character. They're chasing down another part of the other rival mob, right? But they're shooting, and I like how they zoom in on this other car, and it literally has bulletproof, said right
On the
across the thing.
glass. Like, they would never say that.
Well, yeah, it would never. That's exactly what I was trying. It's like
Yeah,
the whole point of.
they would never have that on there. No decal would ever be like bulletproof.
Yeah, exactly. Try
Right
me.
on that window.
Oh
That's-
yeah, I have that on my notes. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
That-
I got
no.
excited.
No, go ahead.
He chimed in.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that-
right
no,
here
I
on
just
page
literally have on my
52, it
notes.
says you right
in
here.
quotes. Bullet resistant.
yeah. That's why I couldn't stop laughing.
Not
'cause-
bulletproof, bullet resistant.
True. But here's the thing. So their car is bulletproof, while the other car that Arnold and Robert Davey are driving in is not bulletproof. Yet somehow the bulletproof car ends up like a sardine can and then ends up in an explosion, while their car is pretty much fine. Not one of them get hit with a bullet. Yet all the so I don't understand how they could just blow up the bulletproof car, but
Whoa. Again, bullet
Look,
resistant.
80s
Bullet resistant.
movies, okay? You gotta think something. 80s movies, you can tap cars and they would just blow up. That was 80s physics. You know?
yeah. It
My
didn't.
favorite part about that scene though is when that's when Arnold's shooting with 50 times without reloading his revolver.
Oh yeah.
But then the best part about it is when he just sticks it in front of the driver's face without saying anything.
Yeah, and on top of that, so that person's deaf. That person has lost their.
Take the blast in your face.
Yeah, exactly. So, and like I said, that car gets turned into a sardine can when it runs into a steel I-beam and gets the whole top end of it. And then it ends in an explosion. But do you notice when that car crashes on the end, there's no body, there's no driver in the car? Like, it's a split second, but you see it. And I'm not sure if they thought, we'd never be at HD that you could tell, but it's pretty...
You couldn't get one stunt devil to actually volunteer for this scene.
I know.
Well, they've used mannequins in this movie, as we'll come across, and I'll mention later. But why couldn't they put a mannequin in the car?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
got none of mannequins. I use them as target practice.
So this is where this is where we get another scene.
Bring me
after
another
that
mannequin.
with some premium dialogue, I gotta say. And this is where we get the dirty cop being interrogated by the mob boss, and basically Luigi Petrova goes, "So what the f are you doing for the money?" And Martin Baxter says, "Sticking my ass out." like I thought, and then Lucci goes, "Not far enough," and like so I'm like, okay, like the dialogue and it was chosen here was
That's
very,
how men talked.
Yeah, exactly.
Was this a scene where they actually had the quote too? There was like you know, they pretty much that one cop was just like, I think I better get going, and like Luigi's like, yeah, where? Canada? Mexico? You're not getting out of my sight until this is over and done. If you did some serious damage to my organization, I want to know where I can lay my hands on you.
Yeah, and so
Good old funeral parlor scene.
So after this scene, this is where we find out that Robert Davies' character had gone to the original agent who arrested Joseph P. Brenner. And basically, he shows him the photo and goes, that's not Joseph P. Brenner. So we know that Robert Davies knows something's up and knows it's not right. So his solution, which I thought was interesting, was that to prove, to kind of put him in thing, they go and do a murder attempt on Arnold Schwarzenegger's handler, Shannon, and while they're at a cemetery. Now, I know it's the mob and stuff, but like, you got 3 people, and there's an active funeral going in behind where there's about 20 people. Okay, right? Did you notice that? Like,
yeah, they're paying their respects too.
You ever hear about witnesses? Like, you know what I mean?
No.
Like, what are they gonna do? Shoot them all? Like, I mean, they could have, I guess, but I don't think that was their intent. And so, did anybody think
Kill them all with their revolvers.
In this,
the whole 6 shots each.
In this particular scene,
15 for Arnie.
So Arnold's walking up, right? And he's like getting the pew and he's reloading his gun just actively, like not even started. He's like, yep, I'm gonna check my gun. Yep, it's loaded. And then he says, then his buddy turns around and that's when he realizes, oh crap, it's my man. But he shoots the guy to the left and then we get the slow-mo, plenty of blood squibs and everything on Robert Davey where he gets shot, right? And the part that I thought just the acting, the dialogue was so crap was that he just says, when he shoots him and he gets up to him and the guy goes, just say it. He just goes, oh, that's okay. And he was so nonchalant.
A casual conversation when he was dying.
He just got shot.
Delirium is setting in.
Yeah, he just got shot.
I already took some morphine.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's what he said. He's like, just right. And then Arnold says,
go get him, Tiger.
Arnold says in such a just like nonchalant, he goes, oh, don't die, but not with any feeling behind it. He just goes, oh, don't die. And then he goes, go on, beat it. I'll see you soon. What the hell does that mean? Like, in hell? Like, what are you talking about?
You'll float too. You'll float too!
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
But you notice that,
Sorry,
like, it was
wrong
so
movie.
nonchalantly talking about being shot.
Hey, bullets didn't hurt back in the 80s.
True. This is all true. We all know this. Fun fact.
There was a look of surprise on Arnie's face, though, when he, like, recognizes what's going on. I did think that was good. Like, the 2 of them actually approached, like, 3 of them were supposed to take out the one guy. He didn't recognize until, like, halfway through, like, what's going on. Like, because he, like, recognized who it was, like, last minute. He's like, oh, crap.
But here's my question. What was his... even if it wasn't, like... Say it wasn't, his handler. So he was just going to go and shoot somebody?
Well, he was undercover.
You gotta do what you gotta do, bro.
You can do... There are certain things where you have
can
to
go
do
and kill
things.
somebody? Oh, so you have to go and kill...
Well, I'm not saying he was going to kill him outright, but he might not actually give the fatal blow.
maimed
He'll leave it
him.
to someone else. Yeah. So
I'll just
he
wing him
can
on his
actually
shoulder.
Pretend that he actually shoots him in the leg or something like that, and someone else takes him out.
Yeah.
So then they can use that as evidence. Like,
Just turns out to be a really bad shot.
I only shot him in the leg and grazed him. But this guy over here, this is what they would say in the stand. He just flat out shot him in the chest. You know, like, that's how it would go about if it was actually going to go to trial.
Well, so after that scene, we move on to the gear and tactical gear reveal that is something that you have to have in the 80s. Where he goes and takes his shower thing.
Favorite scene in the movie.
And it's like gun porn. Because he's like, here's my pistols. Here's my SMG with the weird shroud cover.
They actually
Here's
switched
my
out
shotgun.
the
Go
The
ahead.
costume designer on this was actually switched out temporarily from Terminator.
I know.
No, exactly. It felt like they were just like, we know you like guns. And then it's like, and then you get your necessary shotgun moment where he's got the gun. You know, it's like, it just seemed very like, this was post Commando, so this was after Commando, I believe. But at the same,
give him the leather jacket.
Yeah,
it's the same. It's the same attire.
Yeah, it definitely.
You had to think of the times though too, not to get like super deep.
Yeah.
But the 80s were a time of the assault gun ban. So like seeing like the ARs and the MP5s, everyone's like, "Oh my god, guns!"
True.
And now everyone's just like, "Oh, cool."
Yeah, exactly. So it definitely had that like weird part. But this is where, after that fantastic gear and tactical reveal, we get the quarry scene, which is I think one of your highlights, Coyle. Why don't you run down this scene for us?
Well, I like how he waits till he gets to the quarry to kick out his windshield.
Yes!
And nobody notices.
I couldn't stop laughing because I was like, what kind
and then
of...
he takes his shotgun, he's like, fuck it!
Yeah, exactly, because he starts like... And does it look like he's struggling to kick out the window? Like, he's like... They're like, I could imagine the security guards, like, they could actually see him and like, there's
What's this jackass doing?
Yeah, there's some jackass, like, kicking out his window and struggling with it.
Then he drives around with his MP5.
Yeah.
Just no sunglasses on or anything, wind hitting him in the
He's
face.
using it like the damn thing like a sniper rifle. Like thousands of people are shooting at him with like aiming and all this stuff, and he just points his gun and just shoots them, and they're dead.
That is
then
like...
the best part, the puppet gets thrown into the rock grinder.
Yes, the rock grinder, right? You get the rock grinder, but like... The point you're saying about the gun shooting...
That was the one mannequin we had for the movie.
This is like...
Mannequin budget's over.
This is like the automatic of like, I'm full autoing this. And he's just doing cartwheel, you know, spinning and doing dirt wheels. And he's hitting everybody with pinpoint precision. And they're like far away on hills, like 50 yards plus, 100 yards plus. He's nailing them all. And they're all dropping like flies and they can't shoot for crap.
And they all have ARs.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's why... So I thought that... And at least when he drives full, you know, like, pretty hard into that rock, that quarry truck. You know, at least that was something. But I like when the bulldozer. Yeah. And it just goes right into it.
That thing was huge. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was like...
Well, you saw the sign. He looked confused, so he had a concussion. He did all this concussed.
There we go. After he didn't get hit by a single bullet, but he got concussed. There we go. But like
the bulldozer, as the car was stuck in the bulldozer, he was actually the other driver was waving over this giant dump truck to come over and smash into the back of it.
But I like
so that was interesting, and that dump truck was huge.
It was huge, but at the same. Go ahead.
Nope, you're good.
That's what she said.
I was saying it was huge, but do you also think where it's like, okay, we got him, but then they're driving slowly, and they didn't think he would pull out his gun and shoot them in the face. Like, they're not pulling out guns and shooting. They're just like, I'm gonna keep on coming at you slowly, you know, until you can line up that shot to shoot me. Because they were coming together, and the guy just sits there and takes...
His glass is bulletproof.
Sure.
No worries.
But so he does that. I think he blows up the whole joint there.
No, he shoots the dump truck driver right before it crashes into the trailer.
There you go.
And he shoots the same old mob boss twice and kills him twice.
I didn't know that.
It's the same guy, I swear to God.
Yeah, I could believe it.
Maybe they all look the same, but...
Yeah.
Lenny, we don't have another body for this. I need you to stand in here again. Right here? Yeah.
Well...
Do I get paid double? No. Okay.
So we go from that...
Just be happy you're part of the film.
We go from that gunfight to then the main base of the bad guys in the underground bar, where we get the ultimate gunfight with lots of squibs, lots of blood, and lots of not aiming down the sights.
I like how when he gets
the bar
out of the
shootout
elevator...
was actually pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That was...
It was enjoyable. My one problem with this is he shoots like 3 shots out of the shotgun and just throws it. Nope, don't need this
Yeah,
anymore.
I know, because we're like, that's it. Like, he just uses 3 shots and boom, boom, and that's it. You know.
Well, he'll shoot 20 out of the revolver.
Oh yeah, and
Well, that's the thing. I don't know where he got the shotgun from because it looked like the shotgun was smashed inside the car when they
That's
pulled
what
those
I
in
thought,
the dump
yeah.
truck.
and on top
I'm
of that,
like, where the hell did you pick that one up?
he just walks in. He just walks around picking up guns after that point. Now we're just assuming that the guns will be fully loaded, like because that's what everybody would assume, right? Like I don't know.
Well, and sorry, just to go back to that other scene
Yeah.
where it hit the gun montage. Did you notice at the end, like right before he gets, or right after he zips up the bag and puts the leather jacket on, he looks back at it. He's like in the mirror.
Because he wants
He's
to
like,
see it.
yeah,
Like,
look
damn,
good.
I'm sexy. Yeah. That's exactly what he does.
Oh, and another thing I noticed.
totally badass.
I'm familiar with
Talk
tape
to the
cassettes
hand.
or cassette tapes and how they work. I'm pretty sure he put the tape in wrong in his car when he was playing the Rolling Stones tape.
Actually, no.
Keep
There are
talking.
some
I'm taking a
ways.
pee break.
There are ways that you could put them in any direction in some of these what I'm saying is certain ones were set up that you actually had to put it backwards like that.
Oh, okay.
Where the lining is, you want to put that in first. For the ones that are actually wide like that, so it
Yeah.
reads it. You're not putting it on the outside. And then
Okay,
there are
because
ones
I
that
always
are
thought it
actually
was like
side.
the skinny end went in first.
No,
I guess
it's like an 8.
it depends.
If you remember before cassettes, they had 8 tracks. 8 tracks were always put it with the tape inward.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how when they got the cassette tapes when they came out, they were starting to do it that way. Then they got to a point where they were just able to put it in sideways, as you actually got to like closer to the 90s.
Yeah.
Then we came out with CDs, and now digital.
Good old CDs.
Yes.
Didn't you guys have a car with a CD, like a 6-disc CD player in the trunk or something?
Yes. Yeah. Not me. It was Steve. Sorry, a friend of mine. Basically, he had the Cadillac, and when he actually opened up the back, he'd have to put in the different CDs.
I always thought that
Weird
was so
looking.
weird that it was in the back, but I guess where else were you gonna put it? They were huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
It's huge.
Inject Lysol.
So what I missed?
John just giving me Shmi just giving me a lesson on tape usage in cars.
Oh, there we go.
Cassette tapes.
Cassette.
Okay, so after the main base shootout, do you guys have any more points to move on to that before we move on?
No.
That
go on to
actor.
the
That,
shootout.
yeah.
Sorry.
Shootout.
Go for it.
No, I just had a main point about the main. I guess you could say the main villain in the movie.
What about him?
He looks like the guy from he looks like Jude Law.
Yeah, I could see it. I could definitely see it. Yeah, definitely an interest. But so
Sorry,
after
that was just my profound.
we're pretty much at the point of wrapping up this movie, but I will say this is where I felt like the scenes don't feel like they're the same movie. Because we get up that they're at the plane, okay? And for some reason Arnold's like, you gotta get on this plane and get out of here, you know what I mean? Like, and make a better life for yourself. Yeah, but like, so I'm like, okay. So that just like, but like, you're my friend, not a girlfriend. Not wife material, because like, and she's like, sure, but she takes the money anyway and leaves. The cop then shows up on a helicopter, right? Totally ignores that the plane just went off. Anyway, and he goes, I'm glad that I found out that you're an FBI, that you've been doing some fantastic FBI work. And we're like, fantastic FBI work? He just went on a murdering rampage, and we're like, that's the type of work we like to see in the FBI. And then he becomes an FBI agent. Does anybody think that's weird?
Air traffic regulation was much more lenient back in the 80s.
Sure, yeah.
Hence the helicopter landing in the middle of an active airfield while planes are taking off.
We kept the fatalities under 50, so I guess they're like, not bad, pretty good work. But this is also where I felt like the very end scene where Arnold goes back to go talk to Shannon, who recruited him, because he's in therapy. He's like, I don't want to walk. Walking's for like he's not in. Yeah. but like that scene once again felt like it was written for a some emotional scene for like somebody that isn't Arnold in that type of scene. You know what I mean? And it's just like he's like, come
setting up a sequel.
And guess what? Guess who they mention again? His wife. His wife's back. He's like, yeah, and they don't even mention like, yeah, me coming back out of death really shook her for one. But we're having a kid. You're gonna be the godfather. Like, we're just totally fine.
Oh wait, that was his wife?
That was.
I thought they were talking about the other girl.
No, they were talking about him being back with his wife. So you're just like, oh, and she was just fine with you faking your death and not telling her, and all this is all as well.
Okay, so clearly the movie budget was too low for her salary.
Yeah, apparently. But yeah, that is pretty much raw deal. Do you guys have any other points to be made?
Wait a minute, so we just totally skipped over the the blasting and shooting scene of the last one?
No, you can. I'll take more.
Just before you got to the ending of that film, I mean, you had the shootout scene where you basically had the main villain, it basically was about 15 to 20 guys versus Schwarzenegger for that one scene.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of scenes where Arnold's character Kaminsky could have been shot and killed, but thankfully they ran out of ammo at just the right time, or the gun jammed, and he was able to turn around the corner and just shoot him.
I like when the mob boss is like, call the cops.
Yep. He even gives the one FBI agent, after it's all said and done, and he finally shoots everybody and shoots the main bad guy. Then the only one that's left is the crooked FBI guy, and basically he gives even a chance. He's like, you either take early retirement by shooting yourself, or you get prosecuted. Your choice.
Ah, yes, I did. I totally forgot about the scene, to be honest. Yeah, no,
Yep.
And then he does so he gives him a gun, so he's the good guy, but the guy decides to try and shoot Arnold in the back, and Arnold's like, yes, I'm shooting you so much, yes, because he really wanted him.
I'm gonna shoot you so hard.
And then that was the end, but I mean,
I totally forgot
the film.
that scene.
Then you get to the end where they finally show you that Arnold is trying to help out his buddy and tries to motivate him.
But that seems
They're
so
kicking out his wheelchair. He says, "Come on, you gotta walk."
But
The only way the movie would have been better is after he shoots the FBI agent. He should have been like, "You've just got a raw deal."
Yeah, I'm sure. And guess what? How much you want to bet?
I will give you points for that. That is true.
How much you want
I
to
should have
bet?
said the one-liner.
And then when he kicks the
Arnold,
wheelchair
don't
out from
say
his
that.
friend,
I don't want to say it to the film, though.
when he kicks the wheelchair out from his friend, I just give you a raw deal.
Every friggin' opportunity.
But how much you want to bet Arnold did that? And they were like, no, Arnold.
No,
you're not gonna
buddy.
do that. Yes.
Do I get
We
to say
don't
the
pay
quote
you
now?
to think.
No, you never get to say the quote, but I want to say the quote.
How about now? Can I have my no snow?
You know my wife. She got the raw deal.
That's why she's pregnant.
Well,
Yeah, I was questioning that too. He was gone this entire time, and she just finds out she's pregnant. Maybe it wasn't him. This baby.
that's somebody else's kids.
That's what I mean. I just
Where's
found
his
out we're
handler?
having a baby. This is cool. It's not yours.
Yeah. I just don't, but I don't understand how she's just cool with oh, you're back. Oh, okay, cool. You know.
Oh, you're
I didn't mean to throw you that.
shit cake.
She's okay. So, any other points? Other than that, I'd say we. Overall, did you guys think it was a? Would you? I'm not watching it again. I'll put it that way. It's not something
I
watched
would
it.
recommend watching it at least once. If you're an Arnold Schwarzenegger fan, I'm definitely going to say that you need to at least watch it for one time to say that you've seen it. It is a good, enjoyable rent movie. It is not something that you want to say that you want to watch all the time. Okay, but it does have value of watching.
Yeah, I watched it 2 days ago, and I was I had it on today, just kind of paying attention to it, but not really. I was doing other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you have Amazon, sure, download stream it or whatever. I mean, there's no point not to. It's
Yeah.
worth. It's worth, and it's a short movie. It's only an hour and 25 minutes.
You know what's funny? On speaking of Amazon, I just put on Universal Soldier today. Like I just watched it all of a sudden because I was doing something with Riley, so I just popped it on.
Hey, soldier!
This is fun.
I will say that movie, watching that made me want to watch more 90s movies, and I was 80s and 90s movies.
Yeah.
I watched Naked Gun right after.
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking about doing that. Was that hold up or is it pretty dated?
I love those movies.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's dated, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure you could watch them. It's Leslie Nielsen.
It's funny. It's corny funny. It's not hilarious.
Yeah. Well,
I like Airplane too.
Slapstick.
Leslie
Very
Nielsen.
slapstick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I'd definitely be watching that one. Actually, we're for a future episode, we were talking about doing a live watch of Starship Troopers. So I thought that would be a fun one. Casper Van Diem. So stay
Someone
tuned
out there
for
say
that.
change.
So that could, yeah. Wait, that was from
The Omega Code.
Yeah, the Omega Code. Somebody say out there change. Man, that man's future. Bright. So
he had one last role that I've seen him in, and that was it. It was the Tim Burton Sleepy Hollow. He at least redeemed himself.
Yeah.
He got a good role in
I
that.
actually like that actor. He's pretty cool, but he was in some video game based movie the other day, and they were where they were all gamers, and the only thing I saw was him doing his Rico line from Star Trek. You apes want to live forever. Well, he's got a gaming headset up. He's yelling at his teammates, so. But yeah, do you want to sign us out, Goose?
Let's give the sign out honors to John. See what
John.
happens.
Go ahead.
Hey, thank you guys for listening to this podcast. It was actually great to be here with Captain Bagels and Ripley Goose on their podcast. As you would actually say, go ahead, Captain Bagels, your title.
Noble Thoughts by Idiots.